Hey Sugarfoot, it's been a long week, okay? A very long week. So my best friend went into labor on Monday, and that was surreal because I was able to help her through her labor and like the whole process. Wasn't there for the delivery, but I was able to help her up until the delivery. Um, so she started laboring around 10 in the morning, and of course, I called her on FaceTime because she texted me like, I think I'm in labor. So of course I called her on FaceTime, and I was helping her time her contractions, which were about 5 minutes apart. Forward, I figured, she's in labor. Her mom is probably gonna be at her house. She got her doula with her. She doesn't want that many people around, so I just stayed home. So fast forward to about 7:30, 7:20, her sister called me, and her mom is on the phone like, you have to come. I'm like, what happened? What's wrong? They're like, you need to come check her cervix. So, backstory. I'm one of those people that if I don't know something, I'll try to figure it out. So I had already learned how to check cervixes because I was examining mine. I wanted to understand my ovulation and all of that stuff. So I had checked her cervix before when she first found out she was pregnant. Well, when she thought she was pregnant, I checked her cervix to see if she was, and she was. So her mom calls me like, she needs somebody to come check her cervix. And I'm not doing it. I was like, why? It's really easy. I was trying to explain to her on the phone. She was like, nope, you don't have to explain anything to me. Just come. So I got in a cab and I went there. I got there around 8 o'clock. And she was in the middle of a contraction when I got there. So I just jumped right in and started helping her with her breathing. And she had, anybody that knows Essence knows that this labor was very her, okay? She was nude with meditation music on, and like it was just like an ambiance around her, and I'm like, this is so her. So around 8:15, I checked her cervix, and she was about 2 to 3 centimeters dilated. So she wanted to check her cervix because she didn't want to be in labor for all of those hours and have no progress. So she wanted to make sure that she was at least progressing. She was about 2 to 3 centimeters dilated. So when I checked her cervix, I had used this Vagilixir by Fem Magic, and it's like an antibacterial Vagilixir. It helps to fight off infections and prevent infections. So I had put that oil on my hands when I checked her cervix, and I feel like almost immediately after I checked her cervix, her contractions started coming like every 2 minutes. And she started progressing a lot faster. So we waited about another hour for me to check her cervix again, and she was about 3 to 4 inches, almost 5 inches dilated. So we're like, it's like really progressing really quickly. And the whole time she's laboring, I just felt so bad because I couldn't help her like take the pain away. All I could really do was just help her focus on her breathing, do like different movements to kind of alleviate the pain, like putting pressure on her hips every time she had contractions helped a lot. But I just felt so bad. And you know how like you want to start panicking with the person, but you don't want them to panic, so you have to like stay calm. So the whole time I'm just like, no, breathe, like we're gonna get through this. She's like, I can't do this. I'm like, girl, you're already doing it, just keep going. And that's how that went. So I got there around 8, checked her cervix at 8:15. At around 10:30, the rest of her mucus plug came out. And let me tell you guys, this thing is disgusting. But because it was her, and because I was just so in tune with her contractions, okay, that's another thing. Every time she had a contraction, I had a Brackley and Hicks contraction. So I was like heavily in tune with her contractions. So because it was her, I was able to like just completely ignore the fact that this mucus plug looked disgusting. I got some tissue and I pulled it out of her. Now, if you guys don't know what a mucus plug is, it's what blocks the cervix. It's like this thick membrane of mucus that blocks the cervix to prevent any infections or prevent any bacteria from reaching the baby. It's like another barrier for the baby. And this thing is thick as ever. Okay, when I say thick, I mean like thick. So it would have just hung there if I didn't like pull it off of her. And after that, mind you, she had her mom, her sister, her doula. They were all there helping her. After the mucus plug came out, I would say maybe 10 to 15 minutes after the mucus plug came out, her water broke. Now at that point, I was like, I'm not gonna check her cervix anymore because the water breaking means like the amniotic sac that the baby is in has like ruptured, so he is now exposed to outside elements, and I don't want to and possibly pass any type of bacteria to him. So I was like, I'm not going to check her cervix anymore. Let's just call the ambulance and have them do this. Yeah, I felt so bad for her. She was just screaming and screaming, and she's like, I can't do this. I'm like, girl, you already there. It's nothing else we can do. It's not like you can go to the hospital and get medicine at this point. He's already in like the canal. Like he already dropped down. When I first checked her cervix, he was already at her cervix, like right at the entrance. So it was it was nothing else to be done other than just breathe through it. She was in the ambulance by like 10:45. At 10:58, she was crowning. And 11:21, she was pushing him out at the hospital. And that was like insane. I had never experienced someone go through labor. Like when my sister went into labor, she didn't labor for hours and then her water broke. Her water broke just immediately. And right after her water broke and she started feeling those contractions, she was like, no, I want drugs. It was immediate. I want drugs now. So, and if you are familiar with the process of interventions and stuff like that during labor, you know that pain meds or the epidural can cause your body to relax because it no longer feels the pain. And that relaxation can slow down contractions, make the baby get lazy, and it just completely slows down the process. And when that happens, they do the Pitocin. Now the Pitocin is a synthetic form of oxytocin, which causes contractions, but Pitocin causes super extreme contractions. Like the contractions are way more intense and unbearable. So after the Pitocin, what you want more pain meds because them contractions are too intense. And it's like a back and forth between super harsh contractions and relaxation from the pain meds. So now the baby is in distress and you don't feel it because you're relaxed because you have the pain meds, but the baby that feels every contraction. And now the baby is in distress and you haven't progressed. Your cervix isn't opening, so now you have to get a C-section. And that's it. That's what ended up happening with my sister. She was in labor for, I would say, we went into the hospital at maybe like 10 at night. She didn't give birth until like 6 in the morning, 6, 7 in the morning. And that was through a C-section. And I feel like it was because of the interventions that she had, that she didn't push him out. But she was not trying to feel that pain. Every time she felt the contraction, she was hitting that button for the epidural. So I hadn't actually seen like a full labor progress. So being in the house while my friend was going through labor and going through all of that was pretty surreal, especially since I'm currently pregnant. And her doula was like, this was the most natural and holistic birth that she had been at. Because for the most part, people end up going to the hospital and they end up having interventions, and she ends up having to like explain to them or have the doctor explain to them exactly what's happening. It's another thing that I don't like about hospitals. They'll explain something to you. They'll vaguely explain something to you, but in like doctor jargon. So you won't really understand, but you kind of just go with it. A lot of people just go with it. So she'll have to be like, did you understand what he just said? Because I didn't. And she'll have the doctor come back and explain exactly what is happening. But she said this was like the most natural and holistic experience she ever had, where everyone was just around her, supporting her and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, she got a good support system. Her mom was in there heavy. She had the towel wrapped around her hips, like going, I don't know how to describe this, but it was really cool to see her go through the labor, even though she was in a lot of pain. But considering how other people's labor goes, or like how drastic it can be for other people, she had a pretty smooth labor. She labored for 12 hours and she pushed him right out. He was 7 pounds, 6 ounces, no tear. She didn't have any rips or anything. So she doesn't have like that irritation that some people have after giving birth. She doesn't have that. She also carried very small. She only gained 13 pounds and he was half of it. So she carried really small. So her labor, like, she did pretty good. She did pretty damn good. Pushed the whole human out of her body. But that was insane. Then, fast forward, okay? 2 days later, I decided I was gonna like clean. I was gonna clean up. I was gonna rearrange stuff. Now, I also had a product drop. Like I'm making products. Let me fix that. I also had a product drop, so I had to prepare my products so that they can be shipped or ready for the clients on December 4th, which was a Friday. So on Wednesday, I'm just preparing all the products. I'm cleaning, I'm rearranging and stuff. And throughout the day, I'm like feeling contractions, but I'm feeling like Braxton Hicks contractions. So I was ignoring it at first. Now, usually when I'm eating, of course, I'm drinking a lot of water, and I hadn't eaten that much that day. So I wasn't drinking that much that day. So around 7, 8 o'clock, I'm like, okay, these things are not going away. Usually with Braxton Hicks contractions, if you like move a certain way, or you start walking, or like just switch the activity that you're doing, you can, why do I keep looking outside? You can get the contraction to like alleviate. But this time it wasn't alleviating, like it wasn't stopping. So I'm like, okay, maybe I need to start timing these things. So I started timing them around 8:50 at night. And I noticed that they were like 3 to 4 minutes apart, and the app was like, yeah, it's about time for you to go to the hospital. I'm like, nah. Nah, I'm only 35 weeks. Like, what are you talking about? Plus, I hadn't passed my mucus plug, my water hadn't broke, I wasn't bleeding or anything like that. Like, I did experience some like mucus, a little bit of mucus, but it wasn't like a lot or anything like that. So I was like, let me just stay home. Kept timing them. I'm like, okay, these things are getting a little more intense. My back is starting to hurt. So throughout the night, I kept feeling them. Throughout the night, I kept feeling the contractions come on. So in the morning, I text my mom, like, they're still there. They're not as frequent, but they're still there. They're still pretty strong, and they don't go away. And she's like, okay, so we can go to the hospital. She wanted me to go to the hospital the night before, but I was like, no, I think I'm good. She was like, no, we're going to the hospital. So Papa Bear was with me the whole night. He was like helping me with like alleviating the pain and stuff. But I just felt like it wasn't that serious. Like, I knew it wasn't actual labor because I could breathe through everything. I could maneuver. And I was like, it's not that serious. So I called my midwife, left a message on her machine. They called me right back, and it was just like, go to the hospital. We're gonna call and let them know that you're on the way. We just want to check and see if you're dilated. So I went to the hospital with my mom. I told him, I was like, no, it's fine. You don't have to come. You can go to work. There's no point in him missing work if they're not gonna keep me. But I texted him like, if they do keep me, the baby bag is here in the standard third. And he was just like, what do you mean if they keep you? You told me that it was nothing. I'm like, I know what I told you, but they might keep me. It's a possibility that they could keep me. And he's like, he started panicking on the phone. I'm like, it's okay. Look, I'm fine. Then I'll just let you know when I get there. So I get there. What she did, she checked my vitals and like they checked me into the hospital or whatever. Put me on a machine to monitor, to make sure I was actually having contractions, one, and two, to monitor the baby's movements and what was going on. So of course I was actually having contractions. They were about 10 minutes apart at that point. And it wasn't like painful, it was just annoying because it like my whole stomach would tighten and then right after he would start kicking. So it was just pretty annoying. But they checked my cervix and I was 1 centimeter dilated. So they just kept me on the monitors. I couldn't eat or drink anything, which was super annoying because like what? I was hungry, I was starving. And they put me on IV. They put me on fluids to keep me hydrated because that could be a cause of going into preterm labor, dehydration. So they put me on fluids, I had to pee so much. And they checked my cervix an hour later. I was still at 1 centimeter, so they discharged me. Because it wasn't like I was progressing. So they discharged me. But y'all, they was like, it just seems like that's just gonna be how the rest of your pregnancy will be. You'll just probably experience these contractions pretty often throughout the rest of your pregnancy. I have 5 weeks left. I don't want to experience this shit throughout my pregnancy. This is annoying. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Every so often I have a contraction and I can't alleviate it. I can't get it to go away. I just have to like bear through it. So what I hope this means is that when he does come, it's gonna be an easy labor because my uterus is already prepped and ready to go. So that's what I hope this means. But with all that, I wasn't even able to finish completing my orders until today, which is Saturday. Y'all, it was just a lot going on this week. And they told me that I can't do anything. I'm basically on bed rest, but I'm happy that I was discharged from the hospital because had he checked my cervix and I'd been further dilated, they would have admitted me to the hospital and I would have had to be in the hospital for the rest of my pregnancy until I was about 37 or 38 weeks where I could actually deliver safely. And I did not want that. I did not want to be in nobody's hospital. So I was happy I didn't progress. I've never been in a hospital overnight. I don't know. Hospitals creep me out so much. Let me finish taking this out and then I'll be back. So now, I can't do anything. I can't go anywhere. I mean, it's quarantine anyway, so I wasn't going anywhere anyway. But I'd be feeling like a little couch potato sitting at home all day, doing nothing. So, I'm just gonna focus on my videos because I haven't been real consistent with those, and I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm really sorry about that. Have not been consistent with my videos, so I'm gonna just start focusing on my videos. They don't take any physical labor to do. This is not it. I'm ready for this to be over already, okay? I'm ready for it to be over. So I've been trying to figure out what I'm gonna do about my hair because I do want to start my locks, but I don't want my scalp to still be in the same condition. Like it's still super dry, and I feel like it's because of my pregnancy. Like my skin all over has been super dry, like super dry. My lips have been peeling. It's just been a bad extra dryness, especially now that it's wintertime. My skin is just gonna be super, like, ugh. So hopefully after I give birth and like the postpartum and stuff like that, hopefully by then my skin will be back to normal and I won't have these scalp issues. But I wanted to see if I could start using like a micro lock method. So that's what I did here. I was trying to use the needles to do it, but I need to watch some more videos on how to do it because I didn't do a good job because I only stopped right here. I wasn't able to get to like the root. So I need to figure out how to do that. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I think I should do a belly shot. So 35 weeks. 35 weeks. And let me just tell you guys, I still can't believe that I'm pregnant. I still can't believe it. But yes, 35 weeks pregnant and over it. I'm ready for this to be over.
Hey Sugarfoot, I officially have merchandise available and you can access it through the link in my bio and become part of the Sugarfoot squad. So yes, like, comment, and subscribe and support by buying some merchandise.